Thanks for coming out on I guess a typical Maine spring. We appreciate you greatly. I'm Steve August. I'm the chair of the RSU1 Board of Directors, and I want to welcome you to the district budget meeting. If we could all stand for the pledge of allegiance. Flags are back to the gymnasium. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I just want to make a couple of comments first. This is the district budget meeting. We do have in the RSU, we have a two-step validation process for the budget. And every 3 years, the state requires us to go to the voters to ask whether or not they want to continue that two-step validation. So on the budget referendum ballot, which budget referendum will be June 11th, and you vote in your town town polling location. But on that ballot on June 11th, there are two questions. One is a yes or no vote on whether you support the school budget as presented. And the second question would be whether or not you want to continue that second step of the budget validation process. And the second step is the budget referendum. It's that vote that all town residents are able to participate in. So if you would give some thought to the two-step process, whether or not you want to continue that and vote accordingly on June 11th. So we're here kind of not quite at the end of the budget process. We started working on this budget, the administration, working with Patrick, working with the building administrators, started their meetings back in January. In March, we had very extensive presentations to the board, to the finance committee on the budget. We've done 2 public forums on the budget, and we've had discussions at board meetings leading up to this point. So we'll have a vote tonight on the budget, and then on June 11th, we'll do the final approval of the budget. I think as all of you know, budgeting is a process of choosing needs, setting priorities. As with any budget, whether it be a school budget or a municipal budget or even our personal budgets, there are choices to be made. And some unmet needs, we try to work with existing resources to satisfy all concerns that folks have as we administer the schools. So now we get into the scripted part. As directed, Deborah Clark, a resident of RSU1, has warned and notified the inhabitants of Rouseck, Bath, Pittsburgh, and Woolwich, who are qualified by law to vote in town affairs, to assemble at this time and place for the purpose of acting on the articles listed in the warrant dated on the 6th day of May in the year 2019. Attested copies of the warrant were posted on May 7th, 2019 at the Bath City Hall and the Town Hall of Rouseck, Pittsburgh, and Woolwich, all being public and conspicuous places and being at least 7 days prior to the budget meeting. Also distributed to municipal offices in various public locations and internet websites throughout the RSU at least 7 days prior to this budget meeting was our annual budget report that contained this warrant. I hope everyone picked up a copy of the list of warrants we walked in. So Article 1 is to elect a moderator. Do I have a motion for a moderator?
I make a motion to elect John Morris as
Okay, we have John Morris's name placed in the nomination. We already have a second. Are there any other names to be placed in nomination? If not, I would ask 5 people to come forward to cast their vote for the moderator. Yes, we need to count.
Continue a citizen thereof, so help me God. I do swear that I will discharge to the best of my ability the duties incumbent on me as moderator of this meeting or election according to the Constitution and laws of the state, so help me God. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm John Morris from Fitchburg. I've done a couple of town meetings so I got stuck into doing this job here too. So although it is a pleasure to do this, I hope you all have your booklet that has the budget and the articles in the back of the booklet. And there's also an additional sheet that has to do with Article 4 and 16 that was after the booklet was printed. Also, you need to have your pink card so that I know that you have signed in with your town clerk and that you're a registered voter, and you should have a white ballot that you got with the pink card, because we have a written article at the end of towards the end of the article. If you wish to speak, raise your hand and move to the microphone that's down in the front. We are having the microphone go around this year. So you got to speak into the microphone, and you got to do that so that the people who are watching on TV can hear you and hear what's being said. Also, when you get up there, state your name and the town that you represent. During the meeting, if you have a question about my procedure, if I make a mistake, or skip an article, or you don't understand the question, get up and say, point of order, Mr. Moderator, and ask your question, and we will explain it so everybody understands. To also keep the meeting simple so that everybody understands it, I will only entertain one amendment to any one article at a time. I'm not going to get complicated, do what the legislature does and all of that stuff, one at a time. The KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, not the stupid one. So, and you have the sheet with the amendments that will happen on Article 4 and 16. And lastly, but not leastly, please silence your phone so that we don't have to hear it go off. Are there any questions before we get started with the meeting? If not, Article 2, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend from regular instruction. The recommended amount is $11,758,088. Somebody speaking to that?
This cost center is up 2.3% from last year. Regular instruction is the largest expenditure article of all those presented. It accounts for all regular classroom teachers and supplies. The administration and board priorities this year include 2 additional days per week for ESL, continued funding for the outdoor classroom in Pittsburgh, and enhancing the music program at Morris High School.
Please make a motion and get a second.
I move we adopt the article.
I second.
Okay. We have a motion to pass the article for the recommended amount. Is there any discussion or questions about Article 1? 2. Excuse me. If not, all those in favor of Article 2 for the recommended amount, raise your big cup. Whoops, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Microphone.
Sorry.
Hi, Lawrence Kovacs, resident and teacher here. I'm just curious what the enhancement of the music program entails. What does that mean?
Would you speak more slowly so we can understand what you're
Sure. I'm Lawrence Kovacs, resident of Bath, and I'm a teacher in the district, and I'm just looking for details about the enhancement of the music program at Morris High School, what that means.
Yeah, Lawrence, it's $15,000 total, and Eric, you can correct me or add to this if you'd like, but it's really we're looking at getting a musical theater performance at the high school, and so this would be a stipend for someone to do that, as well as material supplies and other resources to make that happen. Great. Eric, anything else you want to add? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Krista Van Vliet. I'm a resident and I have a daughter in BMS. I just had a question, I guess informational. We know how many students are in each school and we know the overall budget. I'm wondering if you can give us a price per student per school. So in other words, how much are we funding for kids in Dyke-Newell? How much are we funding per student at BMS versus the other schools?
I mean, we don't have that information here right now. We can certainly send that out. We share a lot of itinerants, but we can certainly, I can work with Deb to be able to try to do that exercise.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor of Article 2, raise your big card. Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 3, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for special education. The recommended amount, $5,892,518. This article provides salaries and benefits for special education teachers and support personnel out of district placement and professional services. Last year, it was $5,605,000. Okay, who's speaking to Article 3?
Recommend approval of this article. Cost center is increased by 5.12% this year. Budget provides for 2 additional tech positions to reflect the needs of the students. Outside tuition placement, individual treatment expenses, salaries and benefits for all special education staff are included in this cost center. And I would like to say that I think we've done a lot of work in this area in the last few years to keep the price down by developing programs within the system and with our neighbors.
We have a second.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on Article 3. Are there any questions?
My name is Abigail Bean from Woolwich, and I would like to make a motion to add a position of a behavior interventionist at Woolwich Central School for the amount of $75,000.
We are making an amendment.
Okay, then I'm making an amendment.
Okay, do we have a second to the amendment? We do. Okay. Do you wish to speak to the amendment?
I think there's a real need, and I think there is,
Can I come up?
Yes.
Good evening, my name is Allison Cosgrove.
Speak.
I'm Allison Cosgrove, resident of Woolwich. Abby spoke to us at our last board meeting. Many of us have children in 4th grade at Woolwich Central School. My daughter, who has a love for reading, love for school, always wants to go to school, doesn't like school. She doesn't want to go to school. She begs me not to go to school. She also will tell me that she wants to go to a different school. Mom, why aren't you doing anything? She's feeling like her voice isn't being heard. She's not feeling safe at school. So I feel that school is where we should learn, first and foremost. But how can you learn when people are getting punched in your classroom, when things are getting thrown, when the classroom environment is so chaotic you can't think? And my experience is not unique. There are many other parents here from Woolwich that feel the same way. And it's incredibly sad to me that my daughter has to experience this. We have addressed concerns with teachers, building administrators, Mr. Manuel himself, and we continue to be in the same situation. And I feel awful sending my daughter to a school environment where she's not feeling safe and she's not feeling comfortable. I think that's unacceptable. We're doing this for the kids, right? Sending them to a school where they feel like they can learn and make grades. I don't think that's what we want for our kids.
I would also just say that in the communication we've had with teachers, they very much see the same need and believe that this, one teacher specifically said that this would be what she believes the most effective change that would actually help the situation. I think that's all.
I really think it's about safety and emotional well-being.
Okay, what is the name of the position that you want to add?
Behavior interventionist.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Hi, my name is Kyle Eaton. I live in Woolwich. I am a teacher. I've worked at Woolwich Central School. I no longer work there. I feel I have a real unique perspective on this. I'm a huge supporter of education. I know many of you up there. I'm a teacher, a middle school teacher up in Lisbon, and I'm against adding a behavior specialist to Woolwich Central School right now. I think I have a unique perspective having worked at Woolwich Central School. I worked there for 2 years, actually started the same year as Jason Libby started. And having worked there over those 2 years, I can tell you that there are some amazing teachers that work there. But it was clear to me over those 2 years that while there are going to be behaviors at every school, one of the things that came across very clearly is that when teachers want to address behavior at that school, there was no support from Mr. Libby. And no matter what sort of money we throw at behavior problems at Woolwich, nothing is going to change while Jason Libby is the principal. We should not have this issue at Woolwich, and every teacher that I talk to at Woolwich says that things are getting better since we've had a new dean of students, and that is great. Another administrator has made things better, but just adding a third administrator, just throwing more money, I do not think is the solution. I think the only solution, okay, is to either make some sort of transformative change with this principal or to get rid of him altogether. We have to be smart with our money. He's had a chance. There's not been improvement. We talked to teachers in the district, in the school. We talked to parents in the district. They are not happy. We've got to make a change. But adding a behavior specialist is not the solution. Throwing money at this is not the way to do it. We need better administrators that are already there. Thank you.
If you want to speak, you can get the line.
My name is Kristen Cahill. I'm a resident of Woolwich, and I have a child at Woolwich Central School. I'm all fired up, sorry. With all due respect, I think Mr. Beaton's agenda is all wrong. We support the school, we support Mr. Libby. I volunteer in the school once a week. I see the behaviors, I see the emotional instability with these kids. They need help. They need a set program in place for them. Consequences, I guess. They need a strong program, and we need somebody that's dedicated to that. And we support our teachers, and we support our principal. That's it. Thank you.
Charmaine Delano, a Woolwich resident, and I have 2 daughters that attend Woolwich, a 2nd grader and a 4th grader. I have seen this 4th grade class. I volunteered once a week since kindergarten. I'm pretty sure I can speak for a lot of these kids that this problem is only getting worse, and it's not to do with Mr. Libby. Again, I think Mr. Beaton's issue is a completely separate issue than the task getting in right now. There are some children that are causing some serious problems within the classroom that need to be addressed. My daughter is one of those that loves school, but right now hates it. Doesn't want to go, similar as what Allison Cosgrove is going through with her children. And our test scores, they're not as good because they're not getting through a full lesson because of what's happening in the classroom. Mr. Libby is doing what he can, the teachers are doing what they can, but they need more support to help solve this issue. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kara Hilton. I'm a Woolwich resident. I'm also the president of the PTA this year and the last few years. Although I'm not here in that official capacity, I can say that given that position, I worked very closely with Mr. Libby for a long time, and there has not been any person that has fought harder for my children, 8 of them in my home right now that have either gone to Woolwich or are going to go to Woolwich, he cares. This is not a lack of care, this is not a lack of education from the staff, this is not a lack of their heart being there to serve our children. It's that they don't have the support that they need. So please consider that all of us parents, we're coming from a place of wanting our children to succeed and wanting our teachers to succeed. That's what they want. They want the best for our kids, and we just want to support them by giving that extra person that can help with all of these issues. It's not just the 4th grade, it's all of the grades. This is not parents against the staff or parents against the school board. This is us wanting to come together and serve our kids as best we can.
Hi, Krista Van Vliet, Bath resident. So, in some ways I don't want to intervene too much in this request, but I do want to say that since this is a budget meeting and we're looking at the RSU1 as a whole, that I think that we might need to consider 2 things. One is that it seems like these are really, really important issues, and maybe they're issues that need to be considered by the school board and within the schools in a more concentrated way. Because I think that many of these issues also come up in Dyke Newell and BMS and Fisher Mitchell, other schools within our district. And if we are going to move towards bringing in particular people to deal with these kinds of issues, extra support staff, then I think we need to consider it for all of our schools. And the second point is just one of I sat down after my last question and went through and looked at the regular instruction amounts for each of the schools. And I can tell you that my division of the number of students in the school by what is the proposed numbers tell me that at BMS, a rough estimate is 6,563 per student, Dyke Newell 4,535 per student, Fisher Mitchell 6,013 per student, Phippsburg 6,339 per student, and Woolwich 9,018 per student.
I'm Mona Gustafson, and I'm a Woolwich resident, and I've actually had 5 children who have gone to the Woolwich Central School. And through the years, I've been to 2 different principals, and I feel they both have done exceptional jobs there. 2 different, two different styles, but we've never had an issue with either of the styles. It's been great for the kids. Their thought has been for the kids. I just worry, as you said, it could be the size of the classroom, but in the 4th grade especially, if we have a child in there right now, the teachers themselves have also told me that they're having a hard time being able to teach to the kids who are ready to learn right then, because there is needing to step away and help the kids who do need the extra help. It's not their fault, they just may need some extra help, but if there could be some additional help in that classroom, maybe aides who would come and work, sometimes to kind of break down the size of it and to help the kids. And I do know the other grades are having that same issue. Like I said, my 4th grade son, he's a boy, he's a 2-boy, he'll make the noise, he'll play too, but he gets really upset when he has to constantly ask to be changed in the classroom because there's too much talking going on. He can't concentrate and he loves school. So I'm hoping that we can get a situation for this, and I hear that the other schools are also having that, so we'll work into the budget for everyone.
From Woolwich, I just wanted to come off Rex situation. I have a 4th grade son. We have had issues from kindergarten all the way through, and Mr. Libby has been nothing but an advocate and a great partner the whole past 4 years. So I just want to say that, and also from what I heard from the last board meeting, the situation at Woolwich is not unique. It sounds as though it's happening at other schools in the district, so I don't think this is something that is unique to us across the river. something that should be looked at district-wide.
Hello, I'm Laura Ryan with Woolwich. You all know me because I sat on the finance committee and I've known you all for at least 6 years. And you also know that I kind of err on always being in the middle because I can always see both sides. And so for having my children at Woolwich, I would agree that the experience was positive for the most part until middle school. And that while I also agree that you can't blame an administrator for the complexity of our society in general, I would say that as a leader, you can have someone who's very nice and very responsive, but eventually, especially at that level, a leader can also be someone who might come across strong, and as simple as taking your policies in your handbook and being very consistent with those policies, being very visible and consistent with parents. I do see this as a parent problem. Big time, I think we all need to be more conscious of how we're raising our kids. But as a leader, I think being kind and nice and supportive goes far. But I also feel as a leader, just having the ability, whether it's extra help from somebody or not, it's a stronger presence and adherence to policy can go far, whether that means a strict policy on detention or consequences, pulling someone from the DC trip not a week before, but 4 months before, things like that. And that's why I moved my middle schooler over to EMS. But I see it as multifaceted, and I'm not here to tell you one way or the other what to do. I'd like to see or believe that if this is what the public wants, that there's some money to offer some relief. There are almost 400 students. Kids are spending a lot of time in the office. It doesn't help those kids with those challenges either. So I'd love, I don't know what the answer is, but if there's flexibility to appease the parents, that's great. But I'm also not going to stand and say that it is part of a leadership issue as well. So good luck. Thank you.
I'm Danielle Bailey. I live in Bath. My children have been at Woolwich since, I believe, 2005. To be honest, I'm not sure if it's an administrative issue. I get along with Mr. Libby. I get along with Principal Soul. I have subbed at Woolwich. I have subbed at Woodside. I have subbed at BMS. I'm not sure if a behavioral person coming in will actually make an issue, will make a difference. My son is in the 8th grade. He has problems in his writing class. The kids are talking, nothing is getting done. If the parent is not doing it when it gets home, what I have learned being in the mental health field, you have to carry it home as well. You can't just sit in school and give all these rules and all these things and have the parents not address it when they get home. These teachers are not babysitters, they're there to teach. So I know if any teacher has an issue with my child, I address it at home. The teacher knows they can call me. For what I know of, it is taken care of. So I'm not sure if it will help. I'm not saying it won't help, but I think if you do that, then it needs to not just be focused on the child. You also have to bring the parent and address that, because it's not something that is coming from the school environment. It's coming from home that is being transferred into the school environment. So you have to handle both of them. You can't just handle one. That's just my opinion of it. If it's needed, that's great. My son will be leaving in the 8th grade. He'll be going to Morris, but it has to be the whole thing for it to work. It can't just be done at the school. It has to be done at home. So if you do it in tandem, that's great. If not, this child will just take those same behaviors and take it into the 8th grade. And then they'll take it into high school. That child that was disruptive in the 8th grade will still be disruptive in the 9th grade. It needs to be addressed as a whole. That's it.
Okay, we'll have 2 more speakers and then we'll have a vote after that.
I'm from Woolwich, and
because our kids are at stake, and if we don't say the right things, we put our kids in jeopardy. So I think it's a very difficult forum, to be honest. If anyone, you know, it may be something that's a separate committee or something for the, if you want the honesty, private committee. I think there, I do want to say I believe that a behavior specialist in any school would be very helpful. My kid, one of them, is one of the behavior problems. And I can, you know, he has a good home life. So I don't, you know, I think that would be helpful. However, I am about the budget. I think that we have a principal that could be more effective in behavior issues and dealing with those, because what's happening is, you know, the kids are going there and they're coming out worse. And I've been increasingly frustrated. So I also think that if you do this, it's a slippery slope. You have a lot of schools, and it will end up being a lot of money, and we're trying to keep the budget down, so it may be better to put some other policies in place, you know, positive reinforcement and possibly some, just some counseling or some ideas for the administrators and for the teachers to, you know, help get, help the students respond in a more positive way, rather than introduce another administrator. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Claire Berkowitz, and I live here in Bath. And in the daytime, I work for the Mean Children's Alliance, and we are a child advocacy organization. And what we're talking about here is unfortunately not unique across our state. We're seeing children in child care centers being suspended or expelled because of challenging behaviors, and it really goes to, a lot of it is childhood trauma. And so a behavior interventionist might be a nice solution, but I would like, and maybe it's further into the budget, but I think we need a lot of professional development money in this community for trauma-informed schools. I think our teachers need to be trained how to work with a population of children that they're not prepared to deal with behavior issues, with the opioid crisis. It's here in our community, and we kind of have blinders on. And so I'm not saying that's what everything that's happening in Woolwich, but it's happening all over the state. It's happening here. Kids need a lot more. I'm not as concerned about our test scores. I'm more concerned about restraint and seclusion, and I know the administrators are held accountable to that as well. And so if a child gets sent home or expelled or suspended, that is a dig against your school as well. And so you want to prevent those things from happening. And that starts with professional development, as well as supporting the kids in the classroom. There's a lot of coaching models out there to teach that. And that is not to say that the teachers aren't good teachers. It's just that our kids are different today than they were even 10 years ago. And so I would just, I'm not against this amendment, but there might be more amendments to make in other articles to deal with this issue district-wide.
Okay, we have on the floor, we have an amendment to add $75,000 to Article 3 for a behavioral interventionist at the Woolwich School. All those in favor of the amendment, hold up your big card. All right, I'm going to count. So keep them up there so that you can't see this one. You got to have it that way. All right? 26 for and 29 against, so the amendment fails. So now we have a motion to pass Article 3 that was originally printed, and a second for that. All those in favor of the original article, raise your link cards. Opposed? Passes. Whoops. All right, let me count these. Let's do the fours for the original article first, okay? All right. Okay, and opposed? All right, it passes 48 to 16. Thank you. Article 4, to see what sum the regional school unit would be authorized to expend for career in technical education. The recommended amount is $1,420,281. And this article includes expense for Bath Regional Career and Technical Center. Last year's appropriation was $1,301,943. We have a motion on Article 4.
I move the article is written.
Second.
This cost center is up $118,338 from last year. The reinstatement of the electricity program is the majority of this increase. Necessary costs to support the 9 ERCTC programs are included in this article. The programs are carpentry, drafting, commercial art, health occupations, culinary arts, early childhood, automotives, welding, and once again, the electricity.
And I would like to amend the article upward from $1,420,281 to $1,539,122 for a total increase of $118,841.
Second motion.
And so that is on your handout, this article 4, the handout, and I'll explain what it is. The Education Committee in Augusta has approved an additional $1.5 million in CTE funding. This includes an additional $118,841 for our center. The Appropriations Committee has not yet approved this. This adjustment we are recommending reflects the anticipated additional revenue so that we can spend it this coming year if approved by appropriations.
Are there any questions about the amendment? If not, all those in favor of the amendment, show your pink card. Opposed? The article is amended. So now we need a motion to pass the amended article. We have that motion.
Yeah, I move to pass the amendment.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to pass the amended article in the amount of $1,539,122. Is there any more discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article 4 for the amended amount? Opposed? Passes for the amended amount. Article 5, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for other instruction. The recommended amount is $709,327. And this article includes costs to provide students with learning experiences not included under other educational programs, i.e. co-curricular, extracurricular activities. Appropriation last year was $671,292. We have a motion on Article 5.
I move the article as written.
I second.
Okay? The explanation.
This cost center is increasing by 5.67% this year. The cost center includes funding for co-curricular programs in all of our schools and athletic programs at Bath Middle School, Woolwich Center School, and Morse High School. Costs for coaches, officials, field trips, and admission fees are reflected throughout this category. Increases in fees for officials for the sports programs contribute to the largest portion of this increase.
Any questions about Article 5? Any discussion? Yes.
Thank you, Cameron Kilton, resident of Woolwich. Mr. Perkins, you mentioned that officials accumulated for the largest portion of this increase. Do you have that by percentage of the overall total?
I haven't got it here before me, but perhaps someone else can provide that information.
Deb, do you have the?
I don't have it as a percentage of the total increase. I just know that it was the majority of the increase. We certainly could break that down for you, and get back to you tomorrow. But for now, I don't have that breakdown.
Thank you. And not seeing Mr. Priest here to ask this question as well, do we have any intentions to raise any of our admission fees to help cover some of this cost of officials and things of that nature?
I don't believe we have any plans to raise admission fees, because we usually, on an annual basis, compare those to other communities. So we don't have that right now.
Understood. Having traveled, particularly to having 8 kids in the district, I travel to a few sporting events from time to time. I can say we're significantly less, in terms of percentage, close to 40% less than our counterparts in the same division. Not necessarily to inflict those costs upon the communities, but those coming to support our teams and the facilities that it takes to run them. One thing that kind of caught my attention today from facilities to run them is we have a beautiful floor covering mat out in the hallway, not covering this wood floor for all these people walking on it today. So something like that catches my eye. So with that said, I would like to be a little bit more mindful of that in future meetings in the gymnasium. Thank you.
Can you just, is it middle school or high school you're referring to admission fees?
I think all of the above would be appropriate.
Okay, and this is the first year we haven't used the floor, just so you know.
And so we
More timing on our part.
Any more discussion on Article 5? If not, all those in favor of Article 5, the recommended amount, raise your card. Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 6, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for student and staff support. The recommended amount is $3,026,647. This article covers salaries and benefits for guidance, health, technology, improvement of instruction, library, and student assessment. Last year's appropriation was $2,745,853. We have a motion on Article 6.
I move the article as written.
And a second?
I second. This cost center covers funding for 6 areas: guidance, health, technology, improvement of instruction, library, and student assessment. The addition of new literacy materials for a K-5 reading curriculum are included in this cost center, as well as all salaries, benefits, and program costs for the 6 areas.
Any discussion on Article 6?
question. Is this article, I was really concerned about the Mary Meeting project that's going away from Tedford Housing that supports homeless youth in our district. Was that covered under this for the budget? For a liaison?
I don't believe it was. I'm looking at Katie, but I don't believe it was.
So I guess my question is, what is our plan to deal with our homeless children in our district? Because that project is going away, how are we going to serve the many kids who are homeless, especially the teenagers who are couch surfing in our community without that position at Tedford? Is there a plan here? And if not, do we need to amend this so that we have more money to?
Katie, go ahead.
So I'm Katie Joseph, Assistant Superintendent, and that person was funded for 1 day a week through the May Dewey grant. We were not selected for the grant. Sorry. We were not selected for that grant, and we actually applied with Topsom and Brunswick for a second grant called the FEDIS grant. We were also not selected. Both grants, so everybody will understand, we're looking for more academically focused grants, where, just to clarify, this person, if I were to describe how she helps us that 1 day a week, does things above and beyond what a normal guidance counselor would generally do. And it's been a huge benefit and asset for our students, but it's not generally things that we would have a guidance counselor doing with students. And so right now we're continuing to look for options, but we have no official plan for how to move forward other than applying one more time this coming fall for that same grant. We have provided the DOE with feedback about how important this role is, and hopefully with a new commissioner, we will get it this year.
Yeah, please. I guess this kind of goes to what we were talking about earlier, is when our kids don't get what they need, they're going to show up to our schools not ready to learn and not ready to test well or behave well. So I just want to make sure we're doing enough on that support end so that the kids are ready to learn. So I wouldn't know what amount to add in, so I won't amend, but I would love for this school board to address this soon so that we can get the support they need.
Again, Allison Cosgrove, I'm a Woolwich resident. I would like to make a motion, I'm not sure if I have the correct verbiage, I'm not much of a politician. I'd like to make a motion to amend Article 6 to include a full-time social worker at Woolwich Central School. Again, I am a school social worker. I have 3 children. I think that the board and most of the district in RSU1 are well informed of adverse childhood experiences, ACEs. Teachers are getting a lot of training around that. Despite that training, needs and class sizes are too large. Kids cannot learn when their classroom is chaotic. I know also that there is a Sweetser clinician that comes to the school and provides mental health services to children. They bill private insurance for that. As far as I understand, that clinician has resigned and there is no replacement. So all those children serviced by that will not be having those services. Again, that's going to help, that's going to affect behavior and classroom issues. Secondly, as far as I know, I'm looking at the regular instruction for Woolwich versus the rest of the district. One of the lowest increases compared to other schools, to 6.5%. Additionally, the Woolwich Resource Room is one of the only schools that has had a reduction in funding. I've also been informed that there have been a lot of a lot of people retiring, and with that, oftentimes when you retire, you're at the top of the salary scale. Often someone younger is hired, leaving some money and some room to play with some funds. I want to go home tonight telling my daughter that I fought for her to go to her classroom, feel like she can learn and grow and make gains. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I go home and say, sorry, Zeke, next year, there's gonna be yelling, there's gonna be screaming, there's gonna be chairs thrown. You're not gonna improve on your Nubias. Your tests are gonna go down. Your report card, you're regressing. This is a kid who wants to learn. How can you not support this? And again, it's my understanding that the school board is aware of all these mental health needs and the opioid crisis and are doing what they can. But sometimes you need more trained people and you need more staff. So I hope we don't let our kids down tonight. So I'd ask that you put a full-time social worker position for Woolwich Central School.
Okay, we need a second to that motion to continue discussing it. Okay.
I'm just curious how this is divided up. So it's the $2,745,000. How's
That's
it
last year's number.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, the $3 million. How is that divided up between schools? How do you guys do that? And who makes the decision where that money goes ultimately?
Yeah, if you want to walk them through, I mean, ultimately it's the administrative team that makes the decisions regarding who has how much guidance, how much social work, how much nursing, everything that's listed in here, and then it's divided out into each school. So I don't know if you want to try to go through each one, but that's how the process works.
There's 6 categories within that cost center. So if you looked at your budget book on page 5 through 6, breaks down that $3 million of different amounts for guidance, different amounts for health, technology, improvement of instruction, and the library, student assessment. So that's
Different age, 5 and 6 don't work. Is it 21?
So it's already allocated. There's not like some extra in there for the school itself to make decisions.
No, the budget is built as a whole, as system-wide, what we need. There's certain categories that are system-wide, there's certain categories that are designated to each individual school, like the teaching staff, and all that. The majority of these are, well, there's a mix, system-wide and some designated to each school.
If you have a certain amount in the budget for Woolwich, say, and the parents feel like this is something that they really need in the budget, but we don't increase the budget, how do you do that? How do you look at it? Maybe it needs to be reevaluated for where the funds go to Woolwich.
It all goes in the particular staffing, like Mrs. Cosgrove indicated that Woolwich's amount went down for the resource room, and that's just changing staff. There was one person hired in lower on the scale than what had been there the year before. So, you know, there's ups and downs throughout the whole thing depending on what's happening at a particular school.
Okay, to the staff here, do we need to have a number to go with this amendment to make this work?
I mean, the number would be, again, approximately 75,000, just like the previous one.
Okay, you made the motion. Do you agree with the $75,000?
I think you could hire a social worker for $40,000. Being one who works in the school.
The salary and benefits.
Benefits and talking.
We don't know if somebody's going to, show up and need a family health benefit package. So 75,000 is what the district recommends. It may be a little high, but we've also seen it be a little low.
But I think I'd rather get someone in there, even if it's part-time, if that's what we can afford, we need to do something for our kids.
All right, so you will change your motion to 75,000?
I think 50,000. So for that.
All right, so who seconded it? Do you
Even
agree
if
with
part-time,
50?
it's better than nothing.
Do you agree with 50? All right. So we have an amendment to Article 6 to add a social worker at Woolwich for $50,000. Is there any more discussion about the amendment?
trying to, because I do.
No, no,
I'm coming.
down here.
I'm quite scary, so. Okay. I'm late, so I didn't hear the earlier discussion, that's why I'm here, I'm Deborah, I'm Boyd, my last name is Wise. And I just want to make sure, because my kids do use the social worker at the school and everything. But my understanding was there's an opening to replace her there. Based on what she said, that there was, you just hadn't had an applicant. Is that true? Because I think that we need to know that before we know if we need to raise money for that.
Jason, do you want to address that?
So I can address the social work piece. We do currently, our social work services are provided by Sweetser. That person is resigning at the end of this year. There's an interviewing process going on through Sweetser. They screen candidates to make sure they're qualified, and then bring a qualified candidate to us. The interview to see if they would be a fit for Woolwich, and then if so, they're hired and we continue so that is the process. We don't currently have a someone hired, but
Right, that's my understanding, that you're looking to have them in place for the fall.
hiring process for that.
I'm just bringing it up because, I mean, I do agree there needs to be changes. And I wasn't here for the early part, sorry, but maybe speaking to what we really need.
Can I speak to that? So the thing is, when we
Get to the mic first.
when we access a mental health agency like Sweetser, they bill insurance. They don't take children who don't have insurance. Often those are the kids that are homeless, that are transient, that have unstable housing, who need help the most. A school social worker can see those kids without having to bill insurance. Secondly, most Sweetser clinicians do not take Cigna. Who is the biggest employer around here? BIW. Who gets Cigna for insurance? BIW. So there's a huge population of kids who do not get serviced by this program at all.
Michael.
I make a motion to move the question.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to discuss it more? Okay, we won't have to vote then. All right, we have an amendment to Article 6 to add a social worker at Woolwich for $50,000. All those in favor of the amendment, raise your card. Hold them up. Are you up or down? All right, all those opposed? Okay. The amendment passes 28 to 24. So now we need a motion for the amended Article 6, which would have the amount be $3,076,647. Anyone making the motion?
I make a motion to pass Article 6, amended Article 6.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. All right. All those in favor of the amended Article 6, raise your cards up. Hold them up there. 15. Some of you people are standing there holding your card to your mouth like this, and I don't know whether to count that a yes or a no. I'm not counting it because it's not up here. All right. Article 7, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for system administration. The recommended amount is $608,735. This article provides salaries and benefits for the Office of Superintendent, Central Services, and the Board of Directors. It includes insurance, advertising dues and fees, legal fees, and auditing expenses. Last year's appropriation was $582,168. We have a motion on Article 7.
Move acceptance as written.
We have a second.
I second.
Okay, any explanation?
This cost center is up about 4.5% over last year. System administration includes the Office of Superintendent, Central Services, which is a business office. Expenses for the Board of Education, such as fees for auditors, attorneys, insurance, election expenses, $15,000 contribution to district-wide communication initiative is the largest portion of the increase this year.
Any discussion on Article 7? Yes.
Mr. Well, can you expand on the $15,000 communication initiative and what that entails?
You want to speak to that, so you can head it back over?
And we all love hearing your voice on Snowy.
It's a part-time communication/PR person that would be working with our principals mostly and with the district office to help market the district, PR, press releases, cover things in the schools, and then write up press releases. So we've met, the city of Bath has someone right now. We've talked with them about possibly sharing that person. So it's our first attempt to have a designated employee that would be in charge of that.
And what is the purpose? You say marketing our schools. I mean, obviously we have the local residents. We try to bring in people from outside of our district.
Yeah, I mean, just, public perception, sharing the good news that happens in our schools. Often, we get the day-to-day operations and we don't have enough, make enough time to be able to share all the good news. You have to have people move in to have good press about our schools and our school district.
Well, I'd say whatever has been done to date, and I moved here 2 years ago, so from a neighboring district, and it's done well. With that said, I would encourage more communication for the likes. I think Mr. Priest has kind of set the bar high on his communication on how he does things. He certainly speaks to the youth in our community. I don't know how many people above this table here have Instagram, and I bet it's a pretty small majority, just by the looks. So, with that said, I encourage that kind of behavior, not only from Mr. Priest, but from other classrooms and things of that nature going forward. I've been pleased overall with communication that comes from the district level. I can say there's certainly some improvements from a communications perspective from the smaller schools. But with that said, the marketing person I find intriguing nonetheless. Are you thinking full-time person to get involved with that or a contractor?
No, this is 15,000 is all we have in here. So it's we're going to start small and we're going to probably contract with someone and start small and see how it goes. And they're not going to be designated just one day a week, but we're going to keep track of the time and obviously the finances, see how it goes, and then hopefully expand it a little bit.
So my follow-up question to that would be is how do you measure its success based on that $15,000?
I think the volume of what we put out there as far as pushing the information out, the harder piece would be, possibly we talked about doing a survey, halfway through the year to our parents or some of our community members as a kind of a litmus test to see if they are learning more about the school system, if they feel like there's been more in the local papers as well as on social media in a positive way. So that's some of our starting. Right now we just developed a job description a couple weeks ago.
And that would be a question, I know you kind of answered that well. I don't expect everybody to have the answers to every question I ask, otherwise I don't trust you. So take that one back and kind of that be part of the interview process throughout the goes. How do we measure its success and whether we are getting our return on investment into something that we continue to grow throughout the community to attract people to come to RSU1?
I think you touched on a point, though, that coordinating the various outlets that people turn to now for information, I think is an important objective of this $15,000. We have a very positive message. I think we put it out. We've tended to put it out in very traditional ways, using websites, using newspapers, using other media such as that. But increasingly, people, as you noted, with Instagram, the fact that it didn't look like we were using Instagram. There are many different outlets that people now are dependent on for that message. So that's important.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. So the digital medium is certainly, I haven't personally picked up a newspaper in about 7 years, so it's been a minute. But with that said, we'll move forward. And I do digress momentarily. I kind of skipped over this with the approval of the BRTC budget, particularly, but I think it'd be important to recognize something. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to get up to McMahon Field lately and see the wonderful new speaker system that's been put in place. I think some recognition for the students that actually welded all of those brackets for us. Saved about $3,000 for us. They made it out of actually junk material, which is even more fascinating to me. So I'd like to take a moment and recognize those particular students that were involved. I wish I had all of their names. The department might be able to assist me with that in the future. But if you see one of those kids that are in the welding program, you should acknowledge their work for that particular setup. That was fantastic. Otherwise, thank you.
Hi, parent in Beth. I just wanted to make a suggestion. I'm actually a professional marketer. 15,000 is not enough. And one thing you have to be careful about is that people engage on social, and somebody really low down on the totem pole is going to be closest to that megaphone and start without any strategy. Like, you're giving a voice to so many people at the same time. And so what I would suggest is that you use that 15,000 to create a network, somebody who can manage it, because marketing is probably one of the most valuable skills for kids. And these kids know how to use Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook. And you're in a situation where you might be able to create like almost like a modern day newspaper / yearbook, but you need to have a very specific voice defined for RSU1, and you need to create parameters for each person who's going to take it on, from each of the sports to the classrooms, so that you can just get ahead of a potential problem that might happen. So if you lay the groundwork like almost like a guidebook to somebody who wants to step up and create emails for a club or run the page or post, that you don't want to have that problem happen. You want to just be aware of issues that come into place. And for 15,000, if you're lucky, you're going to get somebody half a day every week. If you use that money to have that person really manage that position, you can use, I'm on Instagram. I'm probably like 3 accounts, 2 of them being a part of RSU1, and I'm already communicating with several BMS students that are running the BMS sports, and I told her, just let me know and we can put a plan together for Brandon, so that Brandon can approve what your purpose is for that social. So you can always call me if you want, but I think that if you use that 15,000 wisely, then you'll be able to see how it can affect every one of your schools and create a foundation where it makes it a lot easier for somebody who is motivated to do something to just hit the ground running, know what the rules are, and then everybody benefits.
Okay, we've had discussion on Article 7. So, all All those in favor of Article 7 for the recommended amount, raise your cards. Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 8, see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for school administration. Recommended amount is $1,749,883. This article covers salaries and benefits for principals, assistant principals, and support staff. It includes equipment, supplies, dues and fees, and contracted services. Last year it was $1,678,265. We have a motion on Article 8.
I move the article as written.
We have a second?
I second.
Discussion? Explanation?
This cost center is up to $71,618 and includes funds to operate the office of the principal in all of our schools, salaries and benefits for the principals and secretaries, as well as amounts for staff development, postage, copier costs, telephone supplies, and dues and fees are included.
Any discussion about Article 8? If not, all those in favor, raise your cards. Opposed? Article 8 passes to the recommended amount. Article 9, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for transportation. The recommended amount is $1,397,068, and this article covers expenses to transport students to and from school. Last year it was $1,368,547. We have a motion on Article 9.
I move the article as written.
Second?
This cost center is increasing 2.8% this year. It includes the back bus, service contract, repairs, maintenance, and insurance for our district maintenance vehicles. Funds are also included in this cost center to cover out-of-district transportation that may be needed throughout the year for our students.
Any questions on Article 9 or discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your cards. Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 10, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. The recommended amount is $3,361,924, and this article covers expenses to heat and maintain our buildings, and also principal and interest payments on non-state funded renovations projects. The previously approved projects include renovations at Bath Middle School, the local share of the Woodward School, and system-wide projects. Appropriation last year was $3,125,652. We have a motion on Article 10.
Move the article as written.
Second. Thank you. Explanation on Article 10.
This cost center is increasing $236,272. The main reason for the increase this year is the additional funds necessary for the first interest payment on the $7.2 million local portion of the Morse High School bond. The Department of Education requires that all local debt be budgeted in this cost center. General operating costs and other non-state funded school construction projects are included in this cost center as well.
Any questions or discussion on Article 10? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 10 to the recommended amount, raise your cards. Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 11, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for debt service. Recommended amount, $3,438,745. This article covers principal and interest expenses for state-supported Board Central School project. Appropriation last year was $1,198,102. Motion on Article 11.
I move the article as written.
I second.
There is an increase of $2,275,590 for the first interest payment on the new Morse BRCTC bond in this cost center. We will be receiving the same amount in revenue from the Department of Education. Education. The article covers principal and interest expenses for the state-supported addition to the Woolwich Central School as well.
Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your cards. Opposed? Passes to the recommended amount. Article 12, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for other food service transfer. Recommended amount is $225,000. Last year it was $240,000. We have a motion on Article 12.
I move the article is written.
I second.
This explanation.
This cost center is decreasing by $15,000 this year. This locally shared contribution to the food service program is to help close the gap between revenues and program expenses. We are no longer operating with a deficit in this fund, continually trying to increase participation in our breakfast and lunch programs.
Questions or discussion on Article 12? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your card. Opposed? Article 12 passes to the recommended amount. Article 13, to see what sum the regional school unit will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and to see what sum the regional school unit will raise and assess as each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act in accordance with the Maine Revised Statute Title 20-A, Section 15688. Recommended amounts are set forth below, and I will not read all of those. We have a motion on Article 13.
I move the article as written.
I second.
This article raises the largest portion of the proposed budget. The state has determined that the RSU can operate on a budget of $23,074,963, the EPS calculation, and has determined each municipality's share of the appropriation based upon enrollments and property valuations. The state has further determined that the RSU should be able to raise $13,644,996 locally. If the RSU does raise this amount, the state will contribute as subsidy the amount of $10,851,498.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor, raise your card. Opposed? Passes as printed. Article 14. See what sum the regional school unit will raise and appropriate for the annual payment on debt service previously approved by the legislative body for non-state funded school construction projects, non-state funded portions of school construction projects, and minor capital projects in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the school administrative unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12. The recommended amount is $984,148. We have a motion on Article 14.
I move the article is written.
Have a second?
I second. Non-state funded debt service is the amount of money needed for the annual payments on the regional school unit's long-term debt for major capital school construction projects and minor capital renovation projects that is not approved for state subsidy. The bonding for this long-term debt was previously approved by voters or other legislative body. The breakdown is as follows. Bath Middle School, $265,474. System-wide 2014 bond, $433,200.
Any questions or discussions on Article 14? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 14? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Okay, Article 15. We have added money in 50,000 for Article 6, so this has to be added in to Article 15. We'll read the article. We'll have somebody make a motion to approve the article with the new amount, to include the $50,000 from Article 6. Shall the regional school unit appropriate $380,850,687 in additional local funds, which exceeds the state's essential program and services allocation model by $5,388,747.80 as required, to fund the budget recommended by the regional school unit board of directors. The board of directors recommends $3,850,687 for additional local funds and gives the following reasons for exceeding the program and services funding model by $5,388,747.80. The additional local funds represent local costs to support the regional school unit school programs that are not included in the school's funding model, including costs for co-curricular and extracurricular activities, transportation, and special education services. The board of directors recommends a yes vote. Now we're going to have a motion with a new amount in it from whoever.
Okay, so I'll move to amend it upward to appropriate from the $3,850,687 will now be $3,900,687, which then exceeds that original amount of $5,388,747.80 now becomes $5,438,747.80.
I'll second.
Any discussion or questions? All right. You have your white ballot. You're going to mark the white ballot, come over with the card to show the ballot clerks that you are up here, that you are registered to vote. Do not fold your ballot. It just takes longer to count. Do not fold it. And we will stand down for about 5-10 minutes and then get to vote. Okay. The results of Article 15 are yes, 65, no, 3. So we will move on to Article 16. This is another complicated one. So you have a printed amount, a recommended printed amount there, and we have two amounts that we have to add to that. One is the $50,000 from Article 6, and one is the $118,841 from Article 4. So when they make the motion for this article, they will be changing the recommended amount to the new recommended amount for Article 16. So I will read it, and then we will have a motion and a second, and then discussion. Article 16, to see what Sumner Regional School Unit will authorize the school committee to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019 and ending June 30, 2020, from the school administrative unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction project, additional local funds for school purposes under the main revised statute title 20-A, section 15690, unexpended balance, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. The printed recommended amount is $33,588,215. We have a motion on Article 16.
So I move the article as written.
I second.
This is the total of Articles 2 through 12, which is referred to as the general fund for the RSU. Adult education and capital reserves are in unique funds and are therefore raised in the next two articles.
Okay, give me the new total.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the article be amended to a total of $33,757,056.
Okay, we have a second to the amendment.
I second.
Okay, any questions on the amendment? If not, all in favor of the amendment? Opposed? The amendment passes. Now we need a motion to pass Article 16 as amended.
All right. So I move as amended. Thank you.
I second.
All right. Any questions about Article 16 as it is amended? This is the total package. All right, all those in favor of Article 16 as amended? Opposed? It passes for the amended amount. Article 17, to see if the regional school unit will appropriate $1,100,122 for adult education and raise $70,800 as the local share with authorization to expend any additional, incidental, or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program. The recommended amount is $70,800. There is a typo in the wording in the middle of it. It says $70,500. $70,800 is the correct amount. We have a motion on Article 17.
I move Article 17 as written.
I second.
Okay. Any questions on 17? If not, all those in favor of Article 17, the recommended amount is $70,800. Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Okay, Article 18, Capital Reserve Fund. Shall the Board of Directors be authorized to raise $50,000 from the previously established Capital Reserve Fund and be further authorized to expend the funds if necessary? The Board of Directors recommends a yes vote. We have a motion motion on Article 18?
Recommend approval as written.
Second?
Okay, any questions? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Passes with a yes. You know what spell checkers do to your words that you want to put in and they decide you want to put the word in there? Well, when Deb was making this up, her computer wanted to delete Article 19. So it did. And it wasn't needed. So it was okay. So now we're moving on to Article 20. In addition to the amount in Article 16, shall the voters authorize the Board of Directors to accept and expend any state, federal, and other grants and receipts during the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019 and ending June 30, 2020 for school purposes, provided that such grants, aid, and receipts do not require expenditure of local funds not previously appropriated. The Board of Directors recommend a yes vote. We have a motion on Article 20.
I move the article as written.
I second.
Okay?
This article authorizes the RSU to seek other sources of funding such as state, federal, or private grants to support education and expend them during this fiscal year.
Any question about Article 20? If not, all in favor? Opposed? It passes. We have come to the end of the article, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. So moved. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.